Hey everyone, before we dive into today's story, I want to warn you that this is going to be intense. What I'm about to share with you happened to me just last night, and I'm still trying to process it all. If you're watching this alone at night, maybe save it for tomorrow morning. Seriously. This isn't your typical creepy story. This is real. This happened to me, and I honestly don't know what to do anymore. So let me start from the beginning. My name is Alex, and I had a twin brother named Ethan. Notice I said had. Ethan died 7 years ago when we were 19 years old. It was a car accident on a rainy November night. He was driving home from his girlfriend's house, lost control on a sharp turn, and hit a tree. They said he died instantly. They said he didn't suffer. They said a lot of things that were supposed to make me feel better, but nothing ever did. Losing your twin isn't like losing anyone else. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. We shared everything. We shared a room. We shared friends. We even shared dreams. There were times when I would think something and he would say it out loud before I could. There were moments when he would get hurt and I would feel it miles away. That connection, that bond, it was real. And when he died, it felt like half of me died too. For the first couple of years after his death, I was a mess. I dropped out of college. I couldn't hold down a job. I pushed away everyone who tried to help me. My parents tried their best, but they were dealing with their own grief. Losing a child is something no parent should ever have to experience. We all kind of just existed in our separate bubbles of pain, trying to figure out how to keep breathing when it felt like the air had been sucked out of our lives. But eventually, as they say, time helps. Not heals, but helps. I went back to school, finished my degree, got a decent job in graphic design. I moved into my own apartment about 3 years ago. It's nothing fancy, just a small 2-bedroom place on the 4th floor of an older building downtown. I chose a 2-bedroom because I needed space for my office. But also, if I'm being honest, having that extra room made me feel less alone. I could pretend Ethan was still around, maybe sleeping in the next room or off doing something. I've had therapy, lots of it. My therapist helped me understand that grief never really goes away. You just learn to carry it differently. She helped me work through the survivor's guilt, the anger, the depression, all of it. I'm in a much better place now than I was. I have friends. I date occasionally. I even laugh sometimes without feeling guilty about it. Life goes on, as they say, even when you don't want it to. But last night changed everything. I was working late on a project for a client. It was around 11:30 at night, and I was deep into designing a logo. You know, that zone you get into where hours pass like minutes. I had my headphones on, music playing, completely absorbed in what I was doing. My apartment was quiet, except for the sound of my own breathing and the occasional click of my mouse. Then my doorbell rang. Now, I need you to understand something. Nobody comes to my apartment at 11:30 at night. Nobody. My building has a security door downstairs, so anyone coming up has to be buzzed in first. I hadn't buzzed anyone in. The doorbell ringing that late immediately put me on edge. I took off my headphones and sat there for a moment, wondering if I had imagined it. Then it rang again, 2 short rings, like someone was impatient. I got up and walked to the door, my heart already starting to pound. I looked through the peephole, and that's when my entire world tilted on its axis. Standing in my hallway, looking directly at my door, was Ethan. Not someone who looked like Ethan. Not someone wearing a mask or playing a sick joke. It was Ethan. Same face, same hair. Same slight slouch to his shoulders that our mom always used to correct. He was wearing jeans and a dark blue hoodie that I recognized because I had the exact same one. We bought them together at a concert years ago. I stumbled backward from the door, my hand over my mouth to stop myself from screaming. This wasn't possible. This couldn't be real. Ethan was dead. I went to his funeral. I saw his body in the casket. I helped carry that casket to his grave. I visited that grave every year on his birthday and on the anniversary of his death. The doorbell rang again, and then I heard his voice. Alex, it's me. Please, open the door. I know this is crazy, but it's really me. Please. That voice. God. That voice. It was his voice. The exact tone, the exact inflection, Even the slight way he pronounced certain words. I would know my brother's voice anywhere, in any circumstance. And this was it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely work the locks. I don't know why I opened the door. Maybe part of me needed to see if this was real. Maybe part of me wanted it to be real so badly that I was willing to risk anything. Maybe I was just in shock and not thinking clearly. I opened the door. He stood there, and up close. It was even more impossible to deny. This was Ethan. Every detail was perfect. The small scar above his left eyebrow from when we were 10 and he fell off his bike. The slight crookedness of his nose from when he broke it, playing basketball. Even the way he stood, with his weight shifted to his right foot, exactly like he always did. "Hey, Alex," he said softly, and there were tears in his eyes. I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't form words. I just stood there, staring at him, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. "I know this is insane," he continued. "I know you think I'm dead. I know what you must be thinking right now. But I need you to listen to me, Kenny. Come in. Please. We need to talk." I stepped aside. I don't know why. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me that this was wrong, that this was impossible, that I needed to slam the door and call the police. But I stepped aside and let him in. He walked into my apartment, looking around like he was taking it all in. "Nice place," he said. "I like what you've done with it." "Who are you?" I finally managed to say. My voice sounded strange to my own ears, distant and hollow. He turned to look at me, and the sadness in his eyes was overwhelming. "I'm Ethan. I'm your brother. I know you don't understand how this is possible, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand it completely either. But I'm here, and I'm real, and I need your help." "Help with what?" I asked. None of this made sense. My mind was racing through possibilities. Was this some kind of elaborate prank? Had someone found a way to clone Ethan? Was I having a complete mental breakdown? He sat down on my couch, right in the spot he would have chosen if he had ever visited my apartment. The spot with the best view of the television, close to the window. "It's complicated," he said. "I don't even know where to start." "Start with how you're alive," I said, my voice getting stronger. "Start with why everyone thinks you're dead. Start with why you've been gone for 7 years without a single word." He looked down at his hands, and I noticed they were shaking slightly. "I was dead," he said quietly. "Or at least, I think I was. I remember the accident. I remember the pain, the sound of metal crushing, the feeling of everything going dark. And then there was nothing for a long time. And then I woke up. Woke up. Well, I demanded. "I don't know," he said, looking up at me with desperate eyes. "That's the thing, Alec. I don't remember. One day, I just woke up in some kind of facility. There were doctors, or at least they looked like doctors. They ran tests on me. They asked me questions. They kept me in this room. I didn't know how long I'd been gone. I didn't know anything except that I needed to get out and find you." "This is insane," I said, running my hands through my hair. "This is absolutely insane. You can't just show up after 7 years and expect me to believe some vague story about waking up in a facility." "I know how it sounds," he said, standing up and taking a step toward me. "I know. But you have to believe me. I escaped. I've been trying to get back here for weeks. They've been looking for me. I don't know who they are or what they want, but I know I'm not safe, and I know you might not be safe now either." That's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. His shadow on the wall behind him. It was slightly off. Not wrong exactly, but delayed. When he moved his hand, his shadow moved a fraction of a second later. I must have been staring because he followed my gaze and looked at his own shadow. Then he looked back at me, and something in his expression changed. "You see it, don't you?" he said softly. "What are you?" I whispered. "I'm still figuring that out," he said. "Whatever they did to me in that place, it changed something. I'm not exactly the same as I was before, but I'm still me, Alex. I'm still your brother. I still remember everything. Remember when we were 8 and we tried to build a treehouse in the backyard and Dad had to help us? because we couldn't figure out how to make it stable. Remember when we were 13 and we both had crushes on the same girl in our class and we made a pact not to ask her out because we didn't want to compete? Remember when we were 16 and I covered for you when you snuck out to that party and Mom and Dad never found out? Stop, I said, because hearing him talk about our shared memories was making this all feel too real. Just stop. I need you to trust me, he said. I need you to help me figure out what happened to me and how to stop them from finding me. You're the only person I can turn to. You're the only person who would even believe that this is really me. I don't know if I believe you, I said honestly. I don't know what to believe right now. Then let me prove it to you, he said. Ask me something only Ethan would know. Something you never told anyone else. I thought for a moment, then said, what did you tell me the night before you died? His face fell, and I saw genuine pain there. I told you that I was thinking about proposing to Sarah. I showed you the ring I had bought. I asked you if you thought she would say yes, and you told me that she would be crazy not to. Tears started running down my face because that was exactly right. That conversation happened in his room, just him and me. I never told our parents about the ring. I never told anyone. After I died, I took that ring from his things and I kept it. It's still in my dresser drawer, a reminder of the future he never got to have. Oh God, I said, and I started to cry. Really cry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't there that night. If I had been with you, maybe I could have stopped it. Maybe you wouldn't have driven in the rain. Maybe things would be different. He crossed the room and pulled me into a hug, and that's when I completely broke down. He felt real. He felt solid. He felt like my brother. We stood there for I don't know how long, just holding each other while I sobbed into his shoulder. But then something else happened. His skin started to feel cold. Not who's cool, but genuinely cold, like touching ice. I pulled back and looked at him, and his eyes had changed. They were still Ethan's eyes, but there was something else behind them now. Something that didn't look quite human. Alex, he said, and his voice sounded different now, too, more hollow. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have come here. What's happening to you? I asked, taking another step back. I don't know, he said, looking down at his hands. They were starting to look translucent, like I could see through them. I don't have much time. They're close. I can feel them getting closer. Who? I demanded. Who's looking for you? Before he could answer, all the lights in my apartment went out, not just turned off, but died completely. Like all, the power had been cut. The only light came from the street lamps outside my window, casting strange shadows across the room. They're here, Ethan whispered, and the fear in his voice was palpable. I heard footsteps in the hallway outside my apartment. Slow, deliberate footsteps. More than one set. They stopped right outside my door. Ethan grabbed my shoulders and looked directly into my eyes. Listen to me very carefully, he said urgently. Whatever happens, don't let them take you. Don't go with them. Don't trust anything they say. If I don't make it out of this, you need to run. You need to tell Mom and Dad what happened. You need to